The Scottish capital of Edinburgh has many monuments. Perhaps the best known, and certainly the most eye-catching, towering some 200 feet above the ground, would be the Scott Monument in honor of the writer Sir Walter Scott. But perhaps one of the most unusual monuments is located just a short distance away. It is the statue of a Polish soldier and a bear known as Wojtek, and I want to tell some of his story. To abridge the tale a bit, at the start of World War II, Poland was invaded by Nazi Germany and Soviet Russia, who had made a pact to split it between them. Thousands of Polish soldiers and civilians were killed, and hundreds of thousands taken prisoner and placed in prison camps. Of those who escaped, many of the Polish political leaders had fled to the United Kingdom. This created diplomatic tension when the Allies were trying to reach an agreement with Russia to help them fight the Germans. However, everything changed when Germany began its invasion of Russia in 1941. Realizing that they needed all the help they could get, the Russians agreed to release their Polish prisoners. The released Polish soldiers were then to be formed into an army to help fight the Germans. The newly released Polish soldiers were sent to Iran and placed under the British command, and this is where they met the hero of our tale. An Iranian boy had found a young Syrian brown bear whose mother was thought to have been shot by hunters. The boy managed to capture the bear and take it to a train station in the hope of selling it to passing Allied soldiers. There, a young Polish woman who was traveling with the Polish soldiers noticed the bear and purchased him. She eventually handed him over to what became the 22nd Artillery Supply Company. The bear was named Wojtek, a nickname in Poland meaning happy warrior. Initially, the bear was fed on condensed milk from an old vodka bottle. As he grew, though, his taste began to reflect the soldiers around him. His favorite drink became beer, and he would often enjoy coffee in the morning. He also developed a lifelong taste for cigarettes, having the soldiers light them and then taking a puff or two before eating the cigarettes. Further mimicking the soldiers, Wojtek would often march on his hind legs and enjoyed wrestling with the soldiers. Although as he continued to grow, ultimately weighing a couple hundred pounds, this was an increasingly risky thing to do. It is said that no soldiers were seriously hurt, but many were scratched up, and many uniforms were torn. Eventually the unit was reassigned to join the British Army in the invasion of Italy. But there was a problem. British regulations prohibited mascots or pets from being transported with the troops. To get around this, the Polish soldiers had Wojtek enlisted, giving him the rank of private. And so Private Wojtek joined his fellow soldiers during the Italian campaign. During the Battle of Monte Cassino, the bear, now being over 200 pounds of pure muscle, was used to transport artillery shells to the front. It is said at one point he carried several 25-pound artillery shells under his arms, though there is some dispute about this. In any case, the troops were so inspired that the image of the bear carrying the ammunition became the symbol for the 22nd Artillery Supply Company, and Wojtek was promoted in rank to corporal. But what is the connection with Scotland? Well, after the war, Soviet Russia had taken over Poland, and most of the Polish soldiers had no desire to go back. It was also feared that Wojtek would become a symbol for the communist government. Wojtek and many of the Polish soldiers were sent to an Air Force base in Scotland. Eventually the unit was disbanded, and Wojtek was moved to the Edinburgh Zoo, where he became a very popular attraction. He even appeared on popular children's television, including the BBC program Blue Peter. His friends from the Polish army would visit, and would continue to toss him lit cigarettes to smoke, and then eat, which may have contributed to his death at the age of 21 from what was reported as damage to his esophagus. If you're ever in the area of Princess Street in Edinburgh, and have the time, I encourage you to see if you can find the statue to this warrior bear.